Hello to all of our kindergarten readers, and welcome to Monday and our new countdown lesson. Let's go ahead and get ready for countdown by saying, climb aboard the spaceship, we're going to the moon. Hurry and get ready, we're going to blast off soon. Put on your helmet and buckle up real tight. Here comes the countdown, so count down with all your might. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Blast off into learning and reading, kindergartners. We have learned that the words first, next, and last can tell us where or the place in a row that something can be found. We've also learned that we can use these same words to tell us when something happens. I'm going to tell you some stories, but you must listen very carefully because when I'm finished, you are going to help me figure out what happened first in the story, next, and last. So it was a sunny day when I decided to go for a walk. As I was walking, I met a friendly dog. He barked hello, and then I met a rabbit who was hopping on the grass. Later, I met a cat who said meow as I walked by. I really liked meeting these special friends. Let's look at these three pictures. There are three friends that I met on my walk. Here is the rabbit, here is the cat, and here is the dog. We have to figure out which of these friends I met first in my story. Who remembers which friend I met first? Think about it. Good job, friends. That's right. I met the dog first. I did not meet any friends before I met the dog. The dog was first. Which friend did I meet next? Think about it. All right, go ahead and share it. Who did I meet next? Well, that's right. After I met the dog, I met the rabbit. The rabbit is the friend that I met next. Does anyone remember which friend I met last? You're right, it was the cat. After I met the dog and the rabbit, I met the cat. The cat is the last friend I met. I did not meet any other friends after I met the cat. Friends, thank you for helping me to learn what happened first, next, and last in my story. Now, friends, we're going to practice using the words above and below again. We will look at some pictures and we'll try to figure out if each picture is above or below the others. So here, friends, we have a guinea pig, a hamster, and a mouse. The hamster is above the mouse. Let's say that together. The hamster is above the mouse. What is above the hamster? Go ahead and take a look and think about it. So what animal is right above the hamster? You're right, it's the guinea pig. The guinea pig is above the hamster. What is below the hamster? So take a look at the hamster and think about the animal that is right below the hamster. You're right, if you said it's the mouse is below the hamster. Let's go ahead and look at some more pictures. So here, friends, we have a house, a door, and a window. So think about those, and I want you to think, what is below the house? So you have to think about where the house is, and then what is below the house? Another word for below could be under the house. You're right, under the house is the door. And then what picture is above the window? So find the window with your eyes and think about what is right above that. Another word could be over. You're right, the door is over the window. Now I want you to think for a moment, is the house above or below the door? So think about the house, and is it above the door or below the door? You're right, if you said above, the house is above the door. Here's one more to think about. Is the window above or below the door? So think about where the window is, and is it above or below the door? You're right, it is below the door. The window is below the door. Nice job, friends, on above and below. Now, friends, we've learned that the words beginning, middle, and end can tell us where or the place in a row that something can be found. These same words can tell us when something happens. When we listen to a story, we can use the words beginning, middle, and end to tell us what happened in each part of the story. Now I'm going to tell you a story. You must listen carefully, just like you did to my last story, because when I am finished, I am going to have you help me figure out what happened at the beginning of the story, at the start of the story, in the middle of the story, and then at the end, what happened at the last part of the story. So listen closely to my story, friends. One day, a king was reading a book in a castle. He was just finishing up his book when the queen asked him if he wanted to sail on a boat out to the middle of the lake. "I would love to sail on the boat with you," said the king. So the king and the queen got on the boat and began to sail, and then dark clouds rolled in. There was a big thunderstorm and lots of rain. "Uh-oh, we'd better get home quickly," the king said. So the king and the queen sailed on their boat back to the castle. So friends, let's go ahead and take a look at some pictures that might help us to tell the story from the beginning, the middle, and the end. So look at these three pictures. They show three things that happened in the story. This is the rainstorm, a book, and a boat. We have to figure out which of these things showed what happened at the beginning of the story, in the middle of the story, and at the end. Let's think about what happened at the beginning of the story, the very start, the very first part of the story. So I want you to think about what happened at the beginning. Think, think, think. All right, now you're right. The king was reading a book at the beginning of the story. So that is what happened at the beginning, at the first part. Now let's think about what happened in the middle of the story. The middle of the story is what happened next, right after the king was reading his book. The middle happened after the first part of the story, but before the last part of the story. So what happened in the middle of the story, friends? Think, think, think. Good job. If you were thinking that the king and queen sailed on the boat, you're right. That's what happened in the middle of the story. Now, let's think about what happened at the end of the story. The end of the story is what happened last. Nothing else happened after the end of the story. Does anybody remember what happened at the end of the story? Was a big finish. Great job, friends. After the king and queen sailed on the boat in the middle of the story, there was a big rainstorm and they had to go home. That is what happened at the end of the story. Nice job, friends, listening for details in the story to think about what happened at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And friends, that's the end of this countdown lesson. Thank you for being such hard workers and good listeners.